I went to therapy for weeks and still came home to my husband's mess.
Maybe your husband needs some therapy.
Hi. So I, 27 female, and my husband, 33 male, have been married for 7 years already. We have 2 kids, a girl, 3, and a boy, 5. He works 40 hours a week while I work 32 hours a week. He dresses the kids, brings them to childcare, and makes them ready for bed before putting them to sleep. I handle the household chores, cooking, and laundry. He helps me sometimes, but only if I ask. He walks the dog in the morning, and I walk the dog in the evening. By the way, this comes from Just Mitsu, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Matt.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here giving good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers, though. We only know what we would do in these situations. So let us know what you would do in the comments. It was always like that, and I never had any issues until I went to a therapeutic center with our 2 kids for 3 full weeks. While I was gone, I asked him to do 3 normal chores: clean the toilet, send a package back, and clean the laundry in our kids' room. He didn't do any of that. I completely lost it and went mad, but he said he did so many things, like cleaning out the garden from stones, even though those stones would be collected in January. His work wasn't even necessary. He told me I should appreciate that he does household stuff and that it's my fault I went to a therapeutic center. He said I could have stayed with the kids and he could have taken care of them like always. He told me I suck at communicating because I'm tired of telling him what to do. After a few arguments, I flipped and told him I'd rather not have come back home. Now he's gone on a work trip and I'm alone with the kids, cleaning up after the mess from the 3 weeks I was gone. Now the question is, am I the a-hole? And what should I do after he comes back? There's an edit. I'm not a native English speaker, and I thought that health resort was the correct term. But in Germany, it's called Munderkindkur. I went to a therapeutic retreat because I was overloaded with everything. Am I the a-hole has no consensus, but OP received mixed reactions, but heavily leaning towards not the a-hole. Editor's note: posting and comments help clarify what OP was trying to explain about the therapeutic center. Commenter: OP, are you in Germany? And was this a Mutterkindkur? Because people are going to see the word resort and misunderstand it. It's not a resort in the sense that they're thinking. It's more like a parent rehab for moms who are at the end of their tether. There are usually different kinds, usually in quiet rural areas where you have individual and group therapy, even family therapy. They have childcare while you attend sessions. Sometimes they have spa-like activities for stress management. For example, I had a friend who went to one because of her kids had terrible allergies, constant rashes, and sleepless nights. She had 4 other kids and was burnt out. The center specialized in helping children like her son, and she got help for her stress while they figured out the allergy issue, all in a supportive professional environment. It's also like at the end of her rope, so maybe things at home are not as great as she's
It's like, come on,
saying.
dude. You know that your wife is going to a retreat because she's so stressed.
Right.
The kids are with her, so you are also having some sort of reprieve from
Yeah,
taking
you're not
care
even
of all
dealing
the
with the kids.
kids. And you still can't do 3 things.
Couldn't even do one thing.
One of which was just returning a package, which would have been a one and done situation.
You're out doing
Also-
errands anyway.
And also, once you did the kids' clothes, the kids aren't with you. So that's
Yeah.
another one and done thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to be wearing them. You don't need to wash them multiple times.
If you don't want to
And then
touch the
clean
toilet, just
toilets.
hire someone to do it.
You could have hired someone for all of those things.
Yeah. LP responds to a downvoted comment saying her husband can choose his own chores. I understand your point if I wanted him to do things that aren't necessary, but he had a full 22 days to do the things that needed to be done. During those 22 days, he worked normally, drank with family on 2 weekends, and spent the rest of the time sitting and playing PC games. Do you know how long it took me to scrub the toilets? The package can't even be returned anymore. I'm overloaded with household stuff because now there's even more after those 3 weeks. Comment 1. So you had a 3-week holiday and came home to give him crap for not doing chores that made no difference. Congrats on being the world's most self-centered a-hole.
Did make a difference, and now she's unable to do one of the things.
Yes, but also, like, he had 3 weeks to do 3 chores. That's 1 chore a week.
Yeah, and what Patria B says, he could have done all 3 on day 1 and then been good for all the week.
I don't know if 3 weeks with 2 kids in a small room 24/7 can be considered a holiday while I went to recover. The kids and I got sick for 2 weeks. I couldn't leave the room because of a 3-day quarantine. Meanwhile, he drank for 2 days, worked normally, and played PC games most of the time. I think he had more of a holiday than I did. Asking him for 3 simple tasks was apparently too much. OP's reason for attending the therapeutic center. Work overload. Kids overload because they hate each other, so they're just normal kids. Family overload since they live nearby, and small mental issues that built up over the years. You either take the kids with you or leave them at home. He wanted to work and said I should take the kids, so I couldn't really recover. But I could form a better bond with them since I had more time with them and no work. OP gives an example of the childcare duties. The kids dress themselves. I pick out their clothes for childcare because he would dress them too lightly for this weather. They dress themselves at bedtime. He brushes their teeth and reads them a story. That's it. I pick them up from childcare, go grocery shopping with them, take the oldest to soccer every Friday, and bring the 3-year-old to music school every Wednesday. I also play with them after doing housework. Okay, so husband doesn't do anything. He's like, hey, let me do the fun chores, like brushing your teeth
That's
and,
what
and
at the
reading
beginning
stories.
when you were like, this seems really even split. The only reason that I thought it might not be, besides the fact that she was like, and I have to ask him sometimes, is that he seemed to get the like, he comes home from work and then his like tasks are to hang out with his kids.
I mean, I suppose it depends on like,
and it's like that's
how your kids
I
are.
would think that would be a fun task.
It depends on how your kids, like if the kids were like monsters, then.
Yeah, but he's only got to handle them till bedtime.
Yeah, you're right. I got you.
I don't know. Have fun with your kids, guys. Hang out with them.
I'm changing my opinion on this now.
I mean, yeah,
You're right,
there was
Carly.
a lot of more things to get you there too. This dude doesn't sound the best.
I was in the wrong. I admit it. This guy sucks. This guy's awful. OP explains the chores she asked him to do. I told him the things I wanted done while I was gone. He did nothing and said I shouldn't treat him like a slave because I asked for a few things. He also said I should tell him if I need help and he'll do it. So yeah, I'm mentally pretty down. She asked.
Right.
And you didn't do it.
It's like, just ask me for anything you need, babe. I got it. She's
Except
like, hey,
that and that.
only 3 things. And he's like, actually, that's a lot, and you shouldn't ask that of me.
OP responds to a comment about her husband's mental load. I know he also has his own mental load, and we've already had fights in his eyes. He does everything, and I only do what's needed.
That's crazy.
Why should I value work that everyone needs to do, like cleaning the laundry or the toilet? I don't get a thank you every time I do those things. It's just necessary for a clean home. If we divorced, he'd have to keep it clean or risk losing custody. During the 3 weeks I was gone, he could play games until 3 or 4 a.m., but doing small chores was too much. He even said I treat him like a slave for asking for the bare minimum he can't even provide. Also, the stones he moved would have been cleared out in January anyway. He just moved them from the backyard to the front yard. Did OP's husband have other priorities? He at least vacuumed every now and then. I never said his priorities were wrong, but moving stones from one side of the garden to another makes no sense when they'll be picked up soon. There were days when he stayed up playing games until 3 or 4 a.m. I could see him online on WhatsApp. This isn't the first time his priorities have been strange. He likes tinkering with PCs, and often when the kids are about to go to bed, he suddenly starts taking one apart. When I'm putting the kids to bed, he gets upset because he says he would have done it right away. He could easily do those things after the kids are asleep. We fought about this before. It got better for a few weeks, but then got worse again. He has no other tasks. I never asked him to clean the entire house, just those 3 specific things. I know he never cleans the full bathrooms or windows. I would have done everything else when I came back. Doing just those few chores would have helped with my workload. I didn't explain the whole conversation, but basically, he told me I shouldn't come back with that attitude. I was really mad and said, yeah, I'd rather not have come back. Update from 10.5 months later. So after a year, I just wanted to share what's happened and how it's going. After he came back from his business trip, he brought me flowers and chocolate. We sat down together and I openly addressed all the issues that had been eating away at me over the past few years. He also brought up the things that had bothered him. I also told him that if we didn't work on a relationship, separation would be my only option, and that if he didn't improve his attitude toward hygiene, I wouldn't want the children to stay with him if we separated. He was immediately very eager and wanted us to get to work on things right away, so we allowed ourselves a quiet phase for 2 months. We lived in the same house, but slept in separate bedrooms. We also set up a detailed plan for each week about who would do what, and each of us got our own free time while the other took care of the kids. By the way, in your free time, you can listen to full episodes just like this one. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform you like to listen to your podcast on and search OK Storytime. I have to say, it's only been going uphill since then.
Okay.
We haven't argued as much, and if we did, it was only about minor things. There were no big fights anymore. He really started to take care of things that had bothered me and now takes his own initiative around the house. I hardly have to tell him anything anymore. Of course, some things have stayed the same, and I still clean some things myself because he simply doesn't see those as a priority. But I'm glad that in the end, things have turned out well. And there are some comments. OP on what rules she made after the original post and how she and her husband decide on this. We set ourselves a rule that we will talk daily about our life and our feelings. We also ate together as a family at least 2 times a week. But other than that, no, we just did stuff for ourselves and with the kids.
I mean, yeah, sounds like it's great that it's going back uphill. I think that if it continues on this path, you could maybe then start to reintroduce the other things back into your life if you want to, like between the two of them as a couple kind of thing. But for now, that seems to have solved a whole bunch.
My coworker kept flirting with me, and it's causing issues in my marriage. So, for context, I, 35 male, was born and raised in Canada, but moved to the US when I was 18 for a work opportunity. I worked a construction gig while taking classes a few times a week, where I met my now wife, who I'll call Hannah, when I was 20 and she was 18. By the way, this comes from a deleted person, but if you want to submit your own stories, you can go to the OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I am Matt.
I'm Carly.
And we are here to give good advice goofily, but we do not have all the answers, obviously. So let us know what you would do in the comments, and we're going to tell you what we would do here. I knew I liked her right away, so I started to go after her. It took some time as she was treated awfully by her parents and hadn't dated much. After 3 months, we started dating. We'd been together for 15 years and married for 10. Wow. Her parents and she had just started contact again after years, and the stress they gave her caused us to cut off her parents again. Started couples and individual therapy, and she decided to leave her 9-to-5 corporate job to work at a flower shop instead, as she loves flowers and it felt it would be a healthy environment. I cook 2 out of our 3 meals, do laundry and dishes, take care of our dog, make the primary income, and also grocery shop. My wife and I go on 1 date a week, have spicy sleep 2 or 3 times a week, depending on the week, and we travel 4 to 5 times a year. I've also never cheated, as it's a deal breaker for me, and the idea grosses me out. We've been considering trying for a baby again and moving back to Canada. This was just to say we have a healthy relationship. So a new coworker, who I'll call Audrey, for the sake of this post, started around early October in a different department. I met her once or twice up until a few weeks before the first Wicked movie came out. However, I came to her section to check on things. The part she works in is more hands-on and outdoors, so I didn't have my ring on in case it got ruined or fell off. I have it on for the rest of the time. I noticed her being a little touchy, overly nice, and laughing a little too hard at my sarcastic comments. Common signs of flirting from what I've heard. Though my wife doesn't really do these things. I just brushed off her touches, was polite, and mentioned my wife in conversation. Audrey seemed a little shocked, but backed off. I also told my wife, and she brushed it off. Around the time Wicked came out, a few coworkers wanted to go and make it a thing. My wife and I wanted to go as well. Audrey and Hannah met and got along really well. Since then, it's now early March, they've gotten along nicely, texted and hung out, but I haven't spoken to Audrey much. Up until 5 days ago.
Uh-oh.
So I don't normally go to bars or drink, never even wasted, just tipsy. But a few coworkers wanted to go to this new one, and I heard it had good pizza. I asked my wife if she wanted to come, but she wanted to catch up on her favorite shows, so it was me, Audrey, and about 5 others. I noticed Audrey again being a little touchy, overly nice, and laughing too hard at my sarcastic comments. I tried to brush it off, be polite, and sit further away so she couldn't touch me. I was the designated driver, so I couldn't leave. But I felt somewhat uncomfortable, and a few people noticed. My best friend, who happens to work for me, talked about how people who flirt can be pushy. He's a real one. I was also sending updates to my wife, and she said there was nothing to worry about because she knows I wouldn't cheat and that she'd just talk to Audrey later. Toward the end, Audrey made a post with a picture of all of us. Basically, it said something about how she loves her new coworker's job, etc. Within minutes, my wife saw it and commented, "I'm glad you're all having fun at the new bar. Stay safe." Audrey then commented, "Don't worry, your husband is safe with me." I mean, do I I have to explain. It's the most flirty affair partner thing I've seen. I came home shortly after and we talked about the comment and how she acted that night. We agreed we needed to go low contact and I would bring it up with Audrey and my boss. The next day, my sister-in-law, 25 female, who I'll call Jess, gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Me, my wife, my brother, 25 male, the husband and new father, my older brother, 23 male, both my parents, 55 male and 54 female, along with my sister-in-law's sister, 22 female, and cousin, 28 female, all came down to see the baby. It's been 4 days since then. We're staying in a hotel and my wife and I have been helping with cleaning and cooking since they came back home, while the rest of the family has checked in at the hospital but are going back to work or home tomorrow since Jess and my brother are trying to adjust to a new baby and don't want too many people around. I won't be back for a few more days, but any advice for how I should handle Audrey? What if she tries or says something? My wife is taking it pretty well, but we haven't talked about the situation much since, baby. And I know she hasn't spoken to Audrey. Sorry if this was a ramble or too much info. I just want to give the full situation and get the best advice. Comment number 1. Have a conversation with HR and tell them what's going on. Say that although you don't want to make an official complaint, you need to have a word with Audrey and ask for someone from HR to be present. Tell Audrey that you are fine working with her and that you are glad that she gets on your wife, but the touching is making you uncomfortable and it has to stop. It doesn't matter why she's touching you, attraction or affection. The fact is it's crossing a boundary that you don't want crossed. You can even frame it as a you problem, as in, I get very uncomfortable with physical touch from anyone apart from my wife. It may make for less awkwardness to approach it that way. Please be careful if you are going to take this approach. HR is there to protect the company, not to help you. It could easily turn into a he said, she said situation. If so, the company may decide it's easier to let one or both of you go, and it won't necessarily be her. Comment number 2. It sounds like you're handling it well? ? It's not come between you and your wife at all? Talk to HR. They'll have words with her, and I'm sure all will be fine. It's no biggie. Crushes happen. Just get it officially closed down and move on. I had a similar situation with my married boss, but I really felt like he was enjoying/encouraging the attention. Is there any part of you that is enjoying this and she is somehow reading that from you and therefore acting on it? If it is the latter, I'm sure HR having words with her will still be enough to shut the whole thing down. OP responds, I haven't been engaging. I'm talkative, but that's something I do with most people, and I usually talk about work or my dog. The 2 things in life. Work and my dog.
Dog.
Work, dog, that's it. Wife sometimes. We maybe spoke 5 times, all brief, and with others, and she's only done this twice, so I think it's just a crush. Edit. It's been a few hours since my first post, and I decided to update since I saw so many comments. I saw a lot of people talking about how I never really told Audrey off and should tell HR. Great advice and very right. Thanks for telling me that. I also did get a message from someone I accidentally hit ignore on, but thanks for your words, man. It means a lot. By the way, it would mean a lot to us if you would listen to full episodes just like this one, with stories and entertainment and fun. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There is a relevant update, but what are we thinking?
I'm thinking that OP never actually told Audrey to stop.
Yeah, I don't think that she did. Or he did, my bad. I don't think that, I don't think it's necessary to really go to HR. I think you can try to handle it first on your own, being like, I feel uncomfortable about this, or just saying, like, this is just a lot, and, like, I'm married, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, like, I don't know if that's just your thing, or, if that's what you feel comfortable with, but for me, like, I'm a little, like, on the fence about it, so if you could just, like, keep your hands to yourself, like.
Yeah. I totally get the thing where, like, it's good to have documentation with HR, but again, HR is there for the company.
Yeah.
They're not there for you.
Exactly.
So when you bring HR into things, like, yes, they can help, but it's out of your control at that point.
Yeah. I think this is something that, like, this is, like, a personal thing. Like, it doesn't have anything. It's not like it's affecting the company or whatever. So I feel like, you don't really necessarily have to go to HR yet. If it progresses, and, like, she doesn't back off after you tell her, and if you tell her multiple times, she's still not, like, doing anything, then, like, yeah. Like, it's just, I think that OP can handle it and then if it goes farther than yes, you can involve others. I just got off the phone with someone in HR who I've known a long time, 42 male, and explained the situation. He was very understanding and said we can have a meeting when I get back from helping my sister-in-law. I mostly downloaded this for advice since I have few friends. Trying to get out there. I also talked to my wife about everything, and we had a long hug.
Aww.
And sent Audrey a message. The basics of it said we both felt uncomfortable around her and wanted to go no contact. I think I tried to brush it off at first since this doesn't happen to me much and I knew I'd have to see her around again. But this made me realize I need to be better at standing up for myself. I'm pretty good at standing up for my wife and family, but that's it. I'm very good at standing up for like other people, but when it comes to like myself, I'm like,
It's like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be bothered.
yeah, I'm just like, I rather just say like, I'm sorry, I'll fix it, rather than like standing up for myself.
It depends on the situation for me.
Yeah.
There are times where like definitely it's like, oh no, this is not going forward. But there are other times it's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have a backbone on some things, but then other things I'm like, it's okay if I take the back seat. I'm very much okay with just like being wrong about everything.